Last night, the boxing world witnessed a historic moment as Terence Crawford defeated Canelo Alvarez, solidifying his position as one of the most dominant fighters in the sport. However, beyond the victory itself, another story quickly started making headlines. Crawford's choice of walkout music, which happened to be the same song that UFC featherweight champion Ilia Topuria has used for his iconic Octagon entrances. During the post-fight interview, Crawford was asked about his entrance and why he chose that particular song. He explained that the decision was part of a larger theme connected to his ring attire, which was inspired by the movie Desperado. Crawford said, "Well, it was part of my outfit. The outfit was inspired by the movie Desperado. As you saw, I had the guitar and everything. I've got Mexicans and Latinos on my side as well, so, it was a beautiful night tonight." When informed that Ilia Topuria also uses the same walkout song in the UFC, Crawford gave a brief response saying, "Oh, good for him." While Crawford seemed unbothered by the coincidence, Ilia Topuria certainly took notice. The undefeated UFC star reacted publicly, pointing out the irony in Crawford first taking a jab at him in the past and now walking out to his music. Topuria wrote on social media, "First he calls me drunk, then he walks out to my song. Crawford, whenever you want, I'll teach you how to dance that mariachi in the ring. And Canelo, I'll save you a round after him." This fiery statement from Topuria instantly caught the attention of fans worldwide, sparking conversations about potential crossovers between boxing and MMA. While it's highly unlikely that Crawford and Topuria would ever meet in an official fight due to their different sports and weight classes, the exchange highlights just how much influence Topuria has gained recently, not just in MMA, but also in the broader combat sports world. For Crawford, the victory over Canelo Alvarez was a career-defining moment. Defeating one of boxing's biggest stars on a global stage further cements his legacy. Yet what was meant to be a celebration of his triumph turned into an unexpected storyline involving a UFC champion. For Topuria, the timing couldn't be better. His name is already in the spotlight as one of the UFC's fastest rising stars and current featherweight king. Engaging with a figure as big as Terence Crawford allows him to expand his reach beyond MMA and into mainstream combat sports discussions. Whether this playful jab evolves into more heated exchanges or simply remains a one-off interaction, it demonstrates how the lines between boxing and MMA continue to blur. Fighters from both sports are increasingly aware of each other's moves, and fans are eager to imagine what-if scenarios. One thing is certain, Ilia Topuria isn't shy about seizing the moment. His sharp words to Crawford and even a playful shot at Canelo ensure that his name stays buzzing across combat sports headlines long after the fights have ended. Before moving on to the next news, we have a quick request for you. We're always working to improve our content and truly value your support. If you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon, it would mean a lot to us. That way you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. It's going to take a lot more than a couple of YouTubers to stop Tom Aspinall. The reigning UFC heavyweight champion has looked nothing short of unstoppable inside the Octagon in recent years. At just 32 years old, Aspinall has finished all 8 of his UFC opponents by knockout, cementing his reputation as one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport. Among his victims are some of the heavyweight division's biggest names, including the towering Alexander Volkov, hard-hitting Sergey Pavlovich, wrestling powerhouse Curtis Blades, and the former UFC champion Andrei Arlovski. With a record like that, it's no surprise that Aspinall is already being mentioned in conversations about the all-time greats of the heavyweight division, but there's still unfinished business. Aspinall has yet to face Cyril Gane, the highly skilled French striker and former interim champion. That fight is now official. The two heavyweights will clash in the 5-round main event of UFC 321 on October 25th in Abu Dhabi. The bout promises to be one of the most anticipated heavyweight title fights in recent memory, with Aspinall looking to defend his throne and Gane seeking redemption after previous setbacks and title opportunities. Despite the pressure of such a massive fight on the horizon, Aspinall has shown that he's keeping things lighthearted outside the cage. Recently, he took part in a collaboration with the hugely popular YouTube group, The Sidemen, in a video that quickly went viral. In the video, the Sidemen attempted to challenge Aspinall in a playful skit where they tried to steal his car keys. The 6'5", 260-pound champion was more amused than threatened. When two of the YouTubers stepped up to try their luck, Aspinall smirked and asked, "Are both of you gonna try?" before calmly adding, "I reckon I can take both of you." The moment perfectly captured Aspinall's blend of confidence and charisma. While the attempt from the Sidemen was lighthearted and comedic, it also reminded fans of Aspinall's sheer size, strength, and composure under pressure. If he can handle playful ambushes from a group of YouTubers with ease, it's a reminder of why stepping into the octagon with him is such a daunting task for professional fighters. This fun crossover between combat sports and internet entertainment also highlights how Aspinall's star power continues to grow beyond just MMA. He isn't just a dominant fighter, he's becoming a mainstream personality with crossover appeal. That combination makes him a valuable asset for the UFC, which is always looking to expand its reach to younger and more diverse audiences. As the countdown to UFC 321 continues, fans can expect to see more of this side of Aspinall, confident, playful, and unbothered by distractions. But once the Octagon door closes in Abu Dhabi, the joking stops. Cyril Gane will stand across from him, and Aspinall will look to prove once again that he is the most dangerous man in the heavyweight division. Whether it's YouTubers trying to steal his car keys or elite fighters trying to steal his belt, one thing is clear: Tom Aspinall isn't giving up anything easily. Move on to another news. Conor McGregor, one of the most iconic figures in mixed martial arts, appears more confident than ever about his highly anticipated return to the Octagon. The Irish superstar has made it clear that he expects to fight at the historic UFC event set to take place at the White House next year, a landmark occasion being organized to celebrate the United States' 250th birthday. Earlier this year, President Donald Trump announced his intention to host a UFC event on the White House lawn as part of the grand celebrations. Initially scheduled for July 4, 2026, new reports suggest that the event could take place in June instead, moving the timeline forward by a month. For McGregor, that adjustment was music to his ears. "I'm very happy that it's June," McGregor told TMZ in a recent interview. "It was on in July, now it's a month earlier. Even better. Bring it to April, why not? Let's celebrate the birthday early. I celebrate my birthday months in advance. That's definitely my event. For sure. That's my event for sure." McGregor hasn't stepped into the Octagon since July 2021, when his trilogy bout against Dustin Poirier ended abruptly due to a broken leg at UFC 264. Since then, fans have been left waiting for his comeback. A scheduled fight against Michael Chandler at UFC 303 in June 2024 was expected to mark that return, but McGregor was forced to withdraw during fight week because of a broken toe. That cancellation only added to the uncertainty surrounding his fighting future. However, the announcement of a UFC card at the White House seems to have reignited his competitive fire. McGregor recently confirmed his re-entry into the UATHA drug testing pool, signaling that he is serious about getting back into fighting shape. The timing aligns perfectly with the build-up to what is being called one of the most historic UFC events in the promotion's history. UFC CEO Dana White has also added momentum to the excitement, sharing updates about the planning process for the White House event. He has discussed potential weigh-in locations, fan capacity, and the logistics of staging such a massive spectacle on such iconic grounds. While other big names like Jon Jones remain in the conversation, White has hinted that McGregor is the frontrunner to headline the card, a move that would undoubtedly guarantee record-breaking attention and viewership. For McGregor himself, the idea of competing at the White House carries special significance. Always known for his flair and ability to turn a fight into a spectacle, he views this opportunity as a perfect stage for his long-awaited comeback. "I'm ecstatic. The Mac is back, and what better event than to grace the White House lawn for a straightener? That's what I do best," McGregor declared. "I'm very, very excited, very eager, very motivated. Bring it on, baby." If all goes as planned, UFC history will be made on the White House lawn, and Conor McGregor intends to be at the center of it. Move on to another news. Khabib Nurmagomedov may have hung up his gloves, but his passion for the fight game remains as strong as ever. The former UFC lightweight champion and undefeated legend has seamlessly transitioned from competitor to mentor, serving as a guiding force for his team of elite fighters. At the forefront of that group is his protege, Islam Makhachev, who has carried on Nurmagomedov's legacy of dominance inside the Octagon. Makhachev, who has now won 15 straight bouts and boasts an impressive record of 27-1, recently defended his lightweight title in dramatic fashion at UFC 311. The main event on January 18 saw him square off against Renato Moicano, who stepped in on just a day's notice after Arman Tsarukyan withdrew due to injury. Despite the short preparation time for Moicano, the fight carried its share of tension. Makhachev was heavily favored to retain his belt, but Khabib and his team made sure not to overlook the Brazilian challenger. Newly released footage captured Nurmagomedov's raw emotions during the fight, revealing just how invested he still is in the success of his protege. With Makhachev working to secure a tight Bravo choke, members of the corner began to anticipate victory. Yet, true to his disciplined nature, Nurmagomedov was quick to caution them against celebrating too early. His face was tense, his voice deliberate, a reminder that in MMA, nothing is certain until the referee steps in. When Makhachev finally locked in the submission and forced the tap, Khabib's stoicism cracked for a moment. The former champion jumped to his feet, his expression transforming into one of sheer joy. It was a rare glimpse of elation from a man known for his calm and composed demeanor, underscoring just how much his team's victories still mean to him. For Khabib, these moments are not just about titles or accolades. They represent the continuation of a legacy built on discipline, strategy, and unwavering belief. With that win, Makhachev further cemented his place as one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world. But now, an even bigger challenge awaits him. Having cleared out much of the lightweight division, Makhachev has vacated his belt and set his sights on conquering new territory. On November 15 at UFC 322 in New York, he will step up to welterweight to challenge reigning champion Jack Della Maddalena. The matchup promises to be one of the most intriguing of the year. Della Maddalena, a rising star in his own right, has proven himself as a dangerous striker with knockout power. Meanwhile, Makhachev's suffocating grappling honed under the tutelage of Khabib has dismantled nearly every opponent he has faced. The clash represents not just a bid for another title, but a chance for Makhachev to join the rare company of fighters who have conquered multiple divisions. For Nurmagomedov, watching from the corner will be another test of patience and nerves. No longer competing himself, he lives every moment through his fighters, their victories, their struggles, and their milestones. As Makhachev prepares for his welterweight debut, one thing is certain: Khabib will be right there in his corner, carrying the same passion and fire that made him one of the greatest to ever step inside the octagon. Move on to another news. Magomed Ankalaev's journey to the top of the UFC light heavyweight division has been a long and often overlooked road, but at UFC 313 this past March, the Dagestani finally realized his championship dream. In a dominant display, Ankalaev dethroned Alex Pereira via unanimous decision, capturing the 205-pound strap. That victory set the stage for a highly anticipated rematch, which is now booked as the main event of UFC 320 on October 4 at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. However, Pereira has made it clear that should he regain the belt, fans shouldn't expect a trilogy fight. Speaking to MMA Junkie, the Brazilian star bluntly dismissed the idea of facing Ankalaev a third time. "I think the story will be over," Pereira said. "It's obviously out of my control. It's up to the UFC. If they want to do it again, I'll fight anyone. But to be honest, from everything we've seen, I think with him losing, I don't think he's going to fight for the title anymore." Pereira's comments took aim at Ankalaev's star power, or lack thereof, which has long been cited as a reason for his delayed rise to the championship level. After dropping his UFC debut in 2018 to Paul Craig in heartbreaking fashion, Ankalaev quietly pieced together 9 straight victories. Despite his winning streak, he was often left out of the spotlight. His title shot against Jan Blachowicz in 2022 ended in a controversial split draw, delaying his coronation even further. It would take over 2 more years before Ankalaev finally secured his chance to fight Pereira for the belt. By contrast, Pereira's rise was meteoric. After making his UFC debut in 2021, Poatan captured the middleweight championship by dethroning Israel Adesanya in 2022. Though he lost the belt in a rematch, he immediately moved up to light heavyweight and claimed gold in 2023. In less than 2 years, Pereira had established himself as one of the UFC's biggest stars, successfully defending the 205-pound title 3 times before running into Ankalaev. Pereira also pointed out that the UFC 320 rematch was scheduled on his terms. Ankalaev had been pushing to defend his newly won belt as early as July, but Pereira was adamant about fighting later in the year. The UFC was even rumored to have approached former champion Jiří Procházka as a replacement, but the Czech fighter declined due to university exam commitments. While this situation caused a temporary strain between Pereira and the UFC, the issue was quickly resolved, leading to the finalized October date. Ankalaev, never one to shy away from making a statement, wasted no time firing back at Pereira's remarks. Taking to social media, the champion mocked Pereira's background and issued a chilling promise ahead of UFC 320. "You're right, I'm not going to have any say because you're going to be sleeping and on your way working at the tire shop again," Ankalaev wrote on X. The rivalry between Ankalaev and Pereira has quickly escalated into one of the most personal feuds in the division. On October 4, both men will have the opportunity to settle the score and potentially bring closure to their chapter in UFC history. Move on to another news. Arman Tsarukyan, one of the UFC's top-ranked lightweight contenders, is preparing to step back into competition next week. However, this time it won't be inside the octagon. Instead, Tsarukyan will test his skills in the grappling world as he faces a legendary opponent. Absolute Championship of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, ACBJJ, recently announced that Tsarukyan will compete in a high-profile grappling superfight against former UFC lightweight champion Benson "Smooth" Henderson. The bout is set to take place at ACBJJ 18 on September 19, 2025, inside the Dynamo Volleyball Arena in Moscow, Russia. The matchup instantly caught the attention of MMA and grappling fans alike, as it pits one of the UFC's fastest rising stars against a proven veteran with decades of experience. For Tsarukyan, this contest is not just about showcasing his grappling abilities, it's also about staying sharp and maintaining his competitive rhythm while waiting for his next UFC booking. The 28-year-old was originally scheduled to challenge Islam Makhachev for the UFC lightweight championship at UFC 310. Unfortunately, an injury forced Tsarukyan to withdraw, leaving his title hopes on hold. Since then, the Armenian-Russian contender has been eager to stay active and keep his skills polished while awaiting another opportunity on MMA's biggest stage. Though he hasn't fought in mixed martial arts since his appearance at UFC 300, Tsarukyan has made a point to remain busy in other combat sports. Earlier this year, he earned a decision win over Makhachev Zainukov during Karate Combat's grappling showcase. Not long after, he secured an impressive submission victory over Patricky Pitbull Fryer at ADXC 10 in May. These outings proved that Tsarukyan is not only a dangerous force inside the octagon, but also a serious threat on the grappling mats. On the other side of this matchup stands Benson Henderson, a name synonymous with UFC greatness. The 41-year-old veteran officially retired from MMA in 2023 after suffering a submission loss to Usman Nurmagomedov. While many fighters choose to step away from combat sports entirely after retirement, Henderson has shown no interest in slowing down. Instead, he has continued to compete across multiple disciplines, including grappling, boxing, and even a karate combat showcase bout against his longtime rival Anthony Pettis. Henderson's willingness to embrace new challenges has earned him respect throughout the combat sports community, as he continues to prove that age and experience can be just as dangerous as youth and athleticism. This upcoming contest between Tsarukyan and Henderson represents two different generations of lightweight legends colliding on the mats. For Tsarukyan, it is another chance to sharpen his weapons, extend his competitive rhythm, and remind the UFC why he belongs at the top of the lightweight division. For Henderson, it is yet another opportunity to test himself against the new wave of elite fighters, demonstrating that his savvy, resilience, and technical knowledge remain world-class. When the two finally square off at ACBJJ 18 in Moscow, fans can expect a captivating battle of styles. The young, hungry contender will bring relentless pressure, speed, and wrestling-based grappling, while the veteran will rely on decades of experience, crafty submissions, and an unshakable competitive spirit. No matter the result, Tsarukyan vs. Henderson promises to be a showcase of elite-level grappling and a reminder that true fighters never stop competing.